What is up, guys? Charlie Pangus here. So today I'm going to be recreating a design that I did a couple days ago, and it's for a tie-dye shirt. So this one's really fun, easy to do, easy to follow along with, I think. I will see you guys in Photoshop. So today I'm going to be recreating this skater dye design, and this one's really simple and for a good reason. I'm going to be putting this on a tie-dye shirt, so keeping that in mind, I know that I just want it to be one color because one color designs look really good on tie-dye shirts. Anyway, we're going to be recreating this design pretty quick. I'm going to be going over the steps fairly quick, so if you get lost, don't worry, just pause the video and keep watching it, and I promise you will get it down with practice. So we're going to start with the circles, the inside and outside circles, and then start laying down some text. Really easy stuff, guys. So without further ado, let's go ahead and stop talking and get to it. So we're going to hide the design, and I'm going to create a new folder, and I'm going to name this tutorial, and I'm going to keep all my layers in that tutorial folder. One thing I need to do is go to my shape tools and just draw out an ellipse, and I'm just going to hold in shift just so it does it proportionally. And it looks like it's not there, but it is because it is colored black, so you can't see it. So I'm going to add an inside stroke of white real quick, and it's going to be a 60 stroke. We can even do less than that if we really wanted to, but 60 seems to be a good number, and I like my lines pretty thick. So I'm just going to resize it again just to put it where I want it to go. It can probably be a little bit bigger than that. And I'm just going to Control J this to duplicate it, and I'm going to transform it again and drag that one down. So we're going to have two. We're going to have an inside stroke and an outside stroke. Really awesome. So now we have our outside stroke, our inside stroke, and that is great. So next thing I want to do is lay out my text on the top and bottom just so I can see where my middle text will have to lay to look normal. So I'm just going to duplicate my inside stroke. And we can relabel these so we know. Inside stroke. And we can name this one outside stroke, just so I know what things are. And I'm just going to duplicate the inside stroke. And this is just going to act as a work path. So I can hide that stroke, and I can also recolor it just to make sure I know where it is. So it kind of helps it stand out more. So this is going to be our work path, and this is where our text is going to go around. So I'm going to go to my T-tool real quick, create a work path, and do skater dye. I'm going to do all caps in this though. And we need to resize it. And the font that I'm using is called XO2. You can find this for free online. Really cool font. But anyway, so I need to recenter this. So I'm going to go to my path selection tool here, and I'm just going to recenter it by dragging that dot that you saw here to the middle, and that is it. So we can hide this inside stroke copy real quick, which is our work path now. We've made that our work path, and I'm just going to change the line height of this and also the size. I don't want it to be too big. 95 seems to be alright, and I'm just going to basically change that line height so it looks centered in between these two circles. And one trick that I use to make that look more centered is I'll take this work path and I'll basically resize it and make it kind of fit the bottom of this text, just so I know where to put the bottom text. See? So now that that's there, all I have to do is line up the bottom text to make it match, and it's going to be perfectly centered in between the two lines like we want it. So duplicate the skater dye, and we're going to change this to California. All caps. I think I might have misspelled that because I couldn't see what I was doing. California, yeah, I misspelled that, but that's okay, I'll change it later. So I'm going to hide skater dye real quick, and I'm going to also hide inside stroke because I don't need it right now. And I'm just going to go to the path selection tool, and by selecting the top point, we can drag down. By dragging that down, we're just taking that font that was on the top and forcing it on the bottom work path here, and then we can change the line height. And then I'm going to unhide the inside stroke copy real quick because I want to be able to see where this needs to sit, just so we can copy the top's position, the top font's position. So that's it. Now they're both on that line, touching that line, and that is great, so that we can hide that now. And I'm going to change the letter spacing too on the bottom California text, just because it's way too spaced out. But first I'm going to actually spell it right. So California, and I'm going to change the letter spacing because it's way too far apart. And skater dye can actually be changed a little bit too. I'm going to do like -20. Just so it's nice and condensed. And then we can change that later on, but for now I'm just going to leave it, and we're going to go ahead and add our center text because we need to start figuring out where we're going to position that. So go to your T-tool, type out whatever you want. I'm going to type out vessel. So I typed out vessel, so I need to go to my cursive font. So the font that I use for this is called Wisdom. And it's a really awesome font. You can find it free online. We don't need letter spacing on this, so I'm gonna change the letter spacing. And I'm just gonna resize it real quick. Another thing that I did when I was positioning this is I added a stroke so I can see where the stroke's gonna sit. So let me explain, let me actually show you first and then I'll explain. So I'm gonna keep it at 60 just because our stroke on the outside is at 60, and I'm gonna make that an outside stroke. So this is a 60 stroke right here, so I'm gonna make the outer stroke 60 as well. That's why I made it 60, just so everything's pretty consistent across the board. So now I can start repositioning this to where I want it. So I'm gonna drag the V down so it's kind of almost hugging the C here, and then I'm gonna do Control T and add a skew. So by adding a skew, I can basically take this and I can edit it how I want it. See, I can drag it up, I could drag it down, and I'm just gonna go about right there. That is fine, just like that. And one thing I noticed is I can easily make my font bigger on top, but the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna resize this just a little bit more, because I noticed that the E was kind of cutting into the white stroke here, so I want to avoid that. That's what I'm looking for, anything that looks too awkward, and that's actually looking really good, so that can stay. Just recenter it real quick, make sure it's centered. So because we laid this text out first, now that I laid the vessel text out after, now I can kind of see what I need to do with it. That's exactly why I did that. So you can go in any order, but that's the reason why I did that. So now that we have that text on the top and bottom, now we can start resizing it and adjusting it to our liking. So we can take the letter spacing off because it was kind of a lot, and we can kind of change it. So -40 will work for this, and we could resize it as well instead of adding letter spacing, but I don't want to do that. I just want to add the letter spacing for this. So we're not going to make it bigger, just add less letter spacing. So I'm doing -40 letter spacing on this. That's looking good. California has way too much letter spacing, so we're going to also change that. Just because it was way too much. So I'm gonna do like -40 on this as well, and I'm also going to change the path on this because right now it's hugging the V way too much. So I'm gonna go to my path selection tool and just adjust that point, just so it can sit better down there. And it's okay if it's not centered for this because that's what I'm going for. So I'm just gonna make sure it's aligned enough. Before I had way too much spacing on this side, so I'm fixing that now. So that's looking good. So you can click OK on that, and now they both have -40 spacing, and they're both the same font weight, and they're both spaced the same. So they're both aligned in between these two strokes the same. So that's really good. Now we have that in place. Now what we need to do is add our rectangle. So this is really easy. Go to your rectangle tool, just draw out a quick rectangle, any size that you feel is necessary. So I'm just going to copy the stroke that was on my outside and inside stroke, which is 60. So I've copied the same stroke over to the rectangle that I just drew out, and that's it. And then we're going to change the fill to 0 because we don't need that. And I'm just going to position it real quick where it needs to be. And that's looking good right there. So once you made those adjustments just like I did, then you're good. You just kind of have to position it now to fit with this bottom line here, just like I have it. And we're going to add a layer mask and get rid of the things that we don't need, because what I did is I kept the bottom connected, but I deleted the top, and I even made it look like it had an inside stroke here to make this rectangle look like it's kind of going behind it. So convert it to a smart object. Once you do that, then we're going to add a layer mask. So by adding a layer mask, now I can go to my brush, make sure it's a hard brush, which it is, and I'm going to make sure it's black. Black is selected as my foreground color because that's how you delete things with layer mask. And we're just going to delete this. Just like that. And don't worry about the bottom not connecting completely. We can reposition it and make that work. So I'm just going to kind of delete it just like this. And there's a better way to do this, but for the sake of this video, I didn't have a lot of time to explain everything. But I'm just going to go ahead and use the layer mask to delete it and make it look like it has that underlaying effect, just like that. So that's fine for now. And we're just going to reposition it so the bottom is kind of looking like it belongs there now. You can see this little imperfection here, so that's okay. What we can do to fix that is we can just basically edit it a little bit to fix that. So we're gonna go ahead and duplicate the inside stroke once. So we have this inside stroke. Let me hide it so you can see what it is. See? So once I hide it, you can see that it goes away. I'm gonna unhide it now. So I converted it to a smart object because I already know that it's 60 weight. The stroke's 60, and that's all we need, and we have a backup, so that's fine. So I duplicated it, and we're just gonna draw a line right here. So we're gonna go to this little rectangle marquee tool, and we're just gonna draw out a rectangle, and we're just gonna delete that out of this stroke so it looks like it's actually completely flat, perfectly flat. So I'm gonna add a layer mask, whilst having that marquee selected still, which is like the marching ants, and we're just going to invert that. And as you can see, it created a flat surface, and that's all I wanted to do for that. To get rid of this guy right here, this little nasty looking guy right here that doesn't need to be there, all I want to do is add a new layer and just paint some black over it, because I'm going to end up getting rid of all the black anyway, so it does not matter. If you can get a little sloppy like that. And then I'm going to type out 1991 real quick, because we had that in this little box that we created, and we need to change it to our font that we used originally for the top and bottom text, which is XO2 black. And I'm just going to put that into place, kind of resize it, reposition it to my liking, at least make it look decent as far as the top and bottom positions go. You want to make it look centered, and that's actually really nice right there. So that is it. That's it for this design. You guys can add your own textures to it, do whatever you want to it, or just don't add texture at all. Completely up to you, but that's how you recreate this really simple tie-dye type design. Now what we can do is throw it on our mock. So let me go ahead and grab my mock real quick and show you how it's done. All right guys, so I have my mock up. Now I'm just gonna get my design ready to put on that mock. So I'm gonna select my entire canvas, do copy merged, and then Control V to paste it, hide everything else. And then I'm just going to select all the black out of my design and delete it. It didn't select all of it because contiguous is checked, so uncheck it. Do that again, delete it, and there you go. Now you have white, and I'm just going to go ahead and convert that to a smart object. So that's cool. All the black's deleted. Now all I have to do is drag it onto my mock shop folder here, or my document here, and then resize that. So I'm just resizing it to make it look like it belongs here. I can resize it to any size I want. I kind of like how it's sitting within this gray area here. It kind of matches the circle perfect, so that's cool. I'm just going to select my mock too to make sure it's centered. So all I have to do is do Control and then hover over the art mask and then just make sure that's centered. That's a really quick little way in case you guys want to do that on your mocks that you have. But that's it really. And then I can even change the opacity just to make sure it actually belongs there a little bit more. I usually go like 95 on this just to give it a faint opacity change. It makes it blend into the shirt a little bit better. That is it guys for this design. I hope you enjoyed it. I was a little off my game today, not gonna lie. I've been struggling because I'm moving back to California soon and I've been trying to get everything going and I'm just really stressed out about it. So I'm gonna try to get these videos out as quick as possible for you guys. I'm trying to do at least 3 videos per week. I think I've been hitting my mark on average, but I might be slowing down soon, so don't worry guys, I'm not going anywhere. I'm gonna keep doing these videos for you as long as you guys are watching them. But that's it for this video guys. If you liked it, of course, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe if you haven't already, and just to let you guys know, if everybody that watches these videos shared this video at least once on their Facebook, Instagram, whatever, wherever, I would get so many more views and more exposure. So you guys can really help me out a lot just by sharing this video, and it would mean the world to me. You don't have to, of course, but it would mean the world to me. I will catch you guys on the next video. Thanks for watching.
No more chills, take these pills.